Today we are giving this old DVD cabinet a stunning makeover. Take a look at this tired old cabinet. It has seen better days, but we are about to change all that. With a little creativity and a lot of elbow grease, we are going to completely revamp this piece. First up, let's talk technique. We are going to be using a variety of methods to breathe new life into this piece. From painting with vintage paint to applying intricate stencils, H2O transfers and stunning stamps from Redesign with Prima, we've got a whole arsenal of creative tools at our disposal. And let's not forget the finishing touch. I will be adding a bit of white wax that will bring all those different techniques together in a stunning new look. Meet my partner in crime, my husband Wim. While I focus on the artistic side of things, he is tackling the heavy lifting, quite literally. With his expertise and a few power tools, he is going to give this cabinet the structural adjustments it needs. He is measuring, marking and making precise cuts to ensure that my vision can become a reality. I have to admit, when it comes to saws and sawdust, that's just not exactly my area of expertise. But hey, that's what teamwork is all about, right? And let's be honest, it's pretty satisfying to see him in action. Maybe I should consider some private lessons from him. Now you might wonder why I wanted him to cut off the head of this cabinet. Well, the only reason is that we just don't have enough space where this cabinet is going to be. So it just had to be a little smaller. With the cabinet now de-headed and some custom-made legs in place, courtesy of my handy hubby, it is starting to take shape. Plus, those little legs will keep it elevated and protected from any unexpected spills or moisture. And just when you thought we were done, there's one more detail to add. A decorative trim to give this makeover the perfect finishing touch. Despite the rain starting to fall outside, we are not letting it dampen our spirits. We took the cabinet inside for a few quick fixes indoors. After that, my husband was done with all his handyman things, so now it's up to me to take the stage for this glamorous makeover. But before adding color, texture and personality to this once forgotten piece, let's give it a good clean. Many furniture artists have said it before me, prepping your work is super important. And for that I turn to my secret weapon, TSP Furniture Prep Cleaner. This stuff is like magic in a bottle. With just 4 capfuls of this concentrated cleaner mixed into a bucket with 2 liters of water, we are ready to tackle any grime, grease or dirt that's clinging to our cabinet. I simply dip a cloth into the solution and get to work, wiping down every inch of the surface. This product is easy on the environment too and safe to use indoors, so you can tackle your projects with peace of mind. Now that our cabinet is squeaky clean, it's time to add some color and personality. And for this makeover, I have chosen the stunning shade of Delightful Plum from Vintage Paint. Just take a look at this color. Delightful Plum is a rich, deep hue that exudes elegance and warmth. And when you crack open the can, you'll be greeted by the delightful creamy texture of the paint. Now let's get painting. With so many nooks and crannies on our DVD cabinet, I am starting by tackling the edges with a small flat paintbrush. Once the edges are done, it's time to switch to a sponge roller for the flat surfaces. And let me tell you, this paint goes on like a dream. The coverage is incredible, even without any prior sanding or priming. Despite the entire cabinet being covered in a smooth veneer, the paint adheres perfectly from the very first coat. Once I was finished with my first coat of Delightful Plum, I let everything dry for a couple of hours, and then I added that finishing touch with a second coat. While I didn't capture the painting of the second layer on camera, I can assure you it was a breeze. Even after just one coat, the transformation was already remarkable. The Delightful Plum color had already worked its magic, leaving the cabinet looking almost perfect. After allowing both coats of Delightful Plum paint to dry, it was time to add a touch of elegance with a stencil. I chose a delicate shade of Antique Rose from Vintage Paint for this step, which appears almost white with just a hint of pink. Using the Wine Grape Tendrils stencil, also from Vintage Paint, I embarked on creating a vintage-inspired design. Now, the key to applying stencils with a stencil brush is to use only a small amount of paint. Each time I loaded the brush with paint, I made sure to dab off any excess onto a piece of cardboard. Then, using a stippling motion, I applied the paint to the stencil. This technique creates a weathered and authentic look, perfect for the aesthetic I am going for. If you prefer a cleaner finish, you can opt for a roller instead. However, it's crucial to use minimal paint to prevent bleeding and ensure crisp lines. To ensure precise alignment between stencils, I utilized the guide holes on the stencil. Instead of marking them with a pencil, I lightly painted over them with Antique Rose. Once one stencil was complete, I simply located the corresponding guide holes on the cabinet and aligned them with those on the stencil. This ensured seamless continuity between designs. Finally, to seamlessly blend the guide points into the design, I painted over them with Delightful Plum. Once dry, they became invisible, leaving behind a flawless finish. Before moving on to the next step, I wanted to ensure that our stencil design was smooth and flawless, so I gently sanded the stencil using a sanding sponge to smooth out any imperfections and ensure a perfectly even surface. This step is crucial for eliminating any rough edges or bumps left behind by the stencil, ensuring that our surface feels smooth to the touch. It's all about those little details that make a big difference in the final result. Now, to add a touch of romance to our makeover, I decided to incorporate the Springtime Peonies H2O Transfer from Redesign with Prima. These H2O transfers are similar to the traditional transfers we have known for years, but they have their own unique qualities. Not only is the application process different, but I also find that the designs are more intricate and the transfers themselves feel thinner, almost like they're part of the surface rather than stickers. I started by carefully cutting out the various flowers and butterflies from the transfer, and then I laid them out on the surface of the cabinet to determine their placement. However, I quickly realized that I almost made a beginner's mistake. I initially placed the pieces with the colored side facing up, just like you would do with regular transfers. But there's the catch. With H2O transfers, you need to flip them over so the black and white side is facing up. This is because the transfer will appear as a mirror image of how it's laid out on your project. So when determining placement, always keep the black and white side facing up. Once I corrected my mistake and flipped the transfers over, I began applying them to the cabinet, starting with the first piece. Now let's dive into the process of applying H2O transfers. First, you'll need some water. Simply spray a fine mist of water onto your furniture using a spray bottle. Next, carefully remove the transparent film from the H2O transfer. Place the transfer onto the moistened area of the furniture, making sure the black and white side is facing up. Using a special H2O transfer tool, gently rub over the transfer. It's important to hold the transfer firmly in place to prevent it from slipping and potentially causing folds or tears. You need to make sure that you give the H2O transfer ample time to adhere properly. After placing the transfer on the moistened area of the furniture, it's essential to let it sit for a solid 5 minutes. During this time, it is crucial to continuously add a small amount of water without saturating the transfer and to regularly rub over it with the H2O transfer tool. This process ensures that the transfer has enough time to activate and adhere securely to your project. Once the 5 minutes have passed, the transfer should be successfully transferred onto your project. Now here's the moment of truth. Carefully check if the transfer has adhered to the surface of the furniture. If it has, gently peel away the paper backing, revealing the beautiful design underneath. Just like that, we've successfully applied an H2O transfer, adding a touch of charm and elegance to our furniture makeover. When it came to transferring one of the flowers over the corner of the cabinet, I wanted to ensure a smooth application without risking any tears or folds. So I opted to cut the transfer in 2 pieces. Carefully bending the transfer over the corner, I determined where to cut it in half. Rather than attempting to apply the transfer in one piece over the corner, which could be quite risky given its delicate nature, I decided to play it safe. After cutting the transfer, I applied the top piece using the same method I demonstrated earlier. Once the top piece was in place, I proceeded to add the bottom piece, ensuring a seamless continuation of the design. By taking this cautious approach, I was able to successfully incorporate the floral design over the corner of the cabinet, adding a touch of elegance to the overall look. I was still looking for that extra pop of personality for my project, so I decided to use some clear cling stamps from Redesign with Prima, specifically the linear floral set. These stamps are not just decorative elements, they are the secret sauce that ties everything together. I wanted to enhance the cohesion between the stencil and H2O transfers, and I thought that the linear floral stamps were the perfect solution. I chose the color Cheerful Cherry from Vintage Paint, which is a vibrant pink color that also appears in the H2O transfer. Using a sponge roller, I applied the paint sparingly, ensuring the roller was never oversaturated. Then came the fun part, stamping. After rolling a bit of paint onto the stamp, I simply pressed it onto the surface of the furniture. With a little pressure from my fingers, the stamp transferred the design effortlessly. And just like that, with a few simple steps, the linear floral stamps added that extra touch of charm and elegance to my project. After allowing the stamp designs to dry, it was time to protect the furniture with a coat of clear wax from vintage paint. What struck me most about this wax is its soft and buttery consistency, making it incredibly easy to work with. Using a wax brush, I applied the clear wax to the surface of the furniture. Then, I gently wiped away any excess wax with a clean old cloth, ensuring a smooth finish. The clear wax will need about 2 weeks to fully cure and provide the furniture with complete protection. Now on to the final step, applying white wax. By adding this white colored wax, the intricate details and textures of the furniture are highlighted, creating a serene and beautiful effect. The general rule is to apply a layer of clear wax before using any colored waxes, like dark or black wax. However, with white wax it's not necessarily required. In my case, I did apply a thin layer of clear wax first, which made it easier to work with the white wax. By having a slightly tacky surface from the clear wax, I was able to manipulate the white wax more freely, blending it into the crevices and details of the furniture. For beginners, I would always recommend applying a layer of clear wax before using white wax, as it provides a smoother application. And there you have it. With the application of clear and white wax, our furniture makeover is complete. All the different techniques and textures have come together to create a unified and beautiful piece. Before I reveal to you the stunning transformation, let's take a moment to remember how this old DVD cabinet looked like before its makeover. And here is how it looks now. What a difference a little bit of paint and some other creative techniques can make. I am humbled by the subtle beauty that now graces my once weary DVD cabinet. The gentle warmth of delightful Plum from vintage paint infuses the surface with a quiet elegance, a simple yet striking tribute to the power of understated beauty. In the delicate strokes of the stencil and the vibrant imagery of the H2O transfer, I find echoes of nature's own artistry, a reminder of the beauty that surrounds us, waiting to be discovered. And as I gently run my hand over the smooth surface, protected by layers of clear and white wax, I am reminded of the simple pleasures found in craftsmanship and care. A quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing a job has been done with love and passion. In these final moments, as I reflect on the journey that has brought me here, I am filled with gratitude for the opportunity to create, for the lessons learned, and for the beauty that now graces my shop in Belgium. Hence, there is where this cabinet can now be found, filled with countless little vintage paint cans that I am dying to try out all myself. And if I do so, I promise to take you with me on another furniture makeover journey here on my channel New Renaissance. Until then, let's all paint the world a better place. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my next videos. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!